Welcome to Create Your Vibrant Life podcast, episode number 44. So today we're going to be talking about how do you create a vision for a breakthrough successful year. And I'm going to be sharing with you 5 steps on how to bring your vision to fruition. So stay tuned, folks. I'm so excited to share this episode with you. Hello, visionaries. Welcome to Create Your Vibrant Life podcast, where you can create the life you desire by tapping into your inner wisdom. I'm your host, Padma Ali. I'm widely known in the field of psychology to create long-lasting transformation. And now I'm here to help you create the life you desire using a combination of neuropsychology and ancient healing practices. This podcast is for you, evolved, overachieving leader who's ready to unlock your highest potential. I'm here to guide you through a process of self-discovery to be the creator of your destiny. And you can do all of that by just taking aligned actions, tapping into the power of your brain, your inner wisdom, and ancient practices. So stay tuned, folks. I am so delighted you are here. What's up, visionaries? Happy New Year to you all. I kind of missed you all. I haven't done a solo episode in a while. I really missed talking to you guys. So I'm so excited to be back. And I'm also excited to share some amazing content and topics this year that is going to help transform your lives in a profound way. Especially for you visionaries, because I know you're always looking for more. You're looking for what you can do more, how you can be more. And so I really want to support you all in this journey. And the reason I wanted to talk about vision, obviously it's the beginning of the year, and it's always good to have a vision for where you're going, because without a vision, we're lost, aren't we? And a new year is a great time to start creating a vision for what you want to see happen. And this is something I do every single year. And when we have a vision, especially for you visionaries, when you have a clear vision of where you're going, what you're doing, it really helps you create a path that is going to bring that dream into fruition, right? And often what happens is that when we start creating a vision, when we start thinking about a vision, especially after this doozy 2020, a lot of people have lost hope. At least that's what I see around me. They're kind of lost. They don't know what's happening. They are not sure what to do because your life has been turned upside down in 2020. And 2021 is not looking any different, at least right now, but it brings a ray of hope. And I wanted to capitalize on that and start talking about how do you create a vision when you have that energy of hope with you. So in today's episode, I'm going to be sharing 5 steps on how to create a vision. And then we're also going to be talking about how do you bring all your dreams to fruition. The 5 steps to create a vision, and also how do you bring all that dreams to fruition. And why is it important to create a vision for the year? I do this every year. And what I've seen is when we don't have a vision, when someone doesn't have a vision, you're just lost. You're kind of just meandering through life. You're meandering through the year. And it's like someone without a destination, right? The destination is not important. The journey is important. But without a destination, you're kind of lost. And that's why it's really helpful to create a vision. The funny thing is, I got the inspiration to do this episode or to really solidify this. I do this every year, but I never put it into a step-by-step process. And I got the inspiration when, you're going to laugh at this, when I was watching the TV series Mandalorian. I actually binge-watched it this holiday season. I rarely watch TV. We don't even own a TV. That's another story for another time. But this holiday season, I just binge watched Mandalorian with my family. It was really fun. Especially if you're into sci-fi and Star Trek and Star Wars like I am. I think you'll really enjoy it if you haven't already watched it. So as I was binge watched both seasons of The Mandalorian over the holidays, I was struck by one thing. How, when you have a clear vision, it helps you find a path, even when you don't have a defined path. Even if you don't know exactly how or when or what turns to take on your path, when you have a vision, you find the way to find a path. So, I was watching Mandalorian, I was thinking like, wow, as this guy made his way around the galaxy with Baby Yoda, I'm not giving away anything in case you haven't watched it. So I noticed that he used the 5 steps that I usually use to create and bring my vision into fruition. And I want to share those 5 steps with you. I was noticing like, oh, wow, he's doing those 5 steps that I do, which is what inspired me to create this episode and do it more step by step. And you may have already noticed that this is what differentiates a visionary from others. Visionaries are ready to craft their own path when there is none. You may not know how to get there, but you have this deep desire for the goal, which is fueled by purpose. You may not know how to go there, but you have a desire, and it's getting the energy from purpose. And that are the first 2 steps of how to create a vision. You need a desire, you need a purpose. And desire is something that we humans, we have it all the time. Like things come up, anything that ignites you, anything that brings you joy, anything that has that energy to it, right? You have an idea. You're taking a shower and you have this idea. It just pops into your head and you're like, wow, I love this idea. That's a desire. But what we do is we let it go because we start focusing on the how. And it feels like it's too big. But this is where, when a desire has purpose behind it, has the energy of purpose behind it, that is an amazing combination. Now, what exactly is purpose? Now, purpose is something that goes beyond you. That goes beyond you. And if you watch The Mandalorian, right? Like if you, I'm just using that as an example because it's so fresh in my memory. The purpose was, okay, how do I help this being find his tribe? Like that's the purpose. Like there's a deeper purpose that goes beyond your specific desires. Like this podcast. This podcast was created. I had no idea how to do a podcast. I didn't even know like what it took to create a podcast. But that desire was fueled by the purpose of service. I wanted to bring this information to a larger audience. And I knew a podcast would help with that. So that's the purpose I'm talking about. And I know each of you visionaries know exactly what I'm talking about because you have a purpose, a deeper purpose. Now, combine that deep purpose combining that deeper desire with purpose brings clarity. And that clarity, when you have that clarity and you tap into your intuition from that place of clarity, it becomes very easy to take aligned actions, doesn't it? And you may have already seen this in your life. When you take aligned actions, powerful results are just inevitable, right? And that are the last 3 steps of creating your vision. Clarity, intuition, and taking aligned actions. So again, clarity, right? Like you have a desire, you have a purpose, and then you bring in clarity. You're like, okay, I am ready. I know that this is my goal. This is where I want to go. Like I have the clarity of I want this information to reach. I want to reach many thousands of people because I know this information is going to transform their life. That is clarity. And when you have clarity and then you trust your intuition is something that it's like this. I was reading this in Florence Scovel Shinish is one of my favorite authors. Intuition, she talks about intuition as message from God. You can substitute it for universe, you can substitute it for consciousness, whatever you want to call it. But she calls intuition like God is telephoning you is intuition. I love that. God telephoning you or universe telephoning you, dropping that intuition, because when you have intuition, then you can take very clear actions. You're not just throwing random stuff on the wall, but you are taking very clear, specific actions. And that summarizes how to create a vision. You have a desire. Number 1 step is desire. Second step is purpose. Third step is clarity. Fourth step is intuition, tapping into your intuition. And fifth step is taking aligned actions. And actions also, I just want to clarify this. It's not all about just doing, because every time we think about actions, it's like, okay, what do I need to do next? Sometimes, many times, actions is sitting in silence. It's getting very clear about your intention. It is about allowing. Actions might be waiting. Action might be letting go. It's not just about doing. And I want to make that very clear because as a visionary, I know that you have a tendency to take actions, like meaning you're a doer. You are an overdoer many times. So this is a reminder to say actions might not always mean doing something. It might even mean being a particular way. So many times for me, my action is just sitting in silence and letting the information come to me. Especially when I think about vision, I'm often just sitting and saying, okay, what is it that needs to come through me for this year? Okay, so part of it, this is also when I think about vision, you may see this around you. Most people around us, around you, are just sleepwalking through life. They're just trying to get by. They're just trying to survive. They're just trying to get one day to the next. Just like, okay, I have these goals. Okay, I want to do this in my work. And they're just trying to get by. But if you look closely, it's often because they don't have a vision and they don't believe that they can have what they want. When you have a belief that you can't have what you want, this is just a belief. It's just a story you've told yourself. And this is why I've created a very unique way of using these 5 steps that I just described, right? Desire, purpose, clarity, intuition, and taking aligned actions. Using these 5 steps, I have this unique way of using these 5 steps and bringing awareness to beliefs and tapping into your inner wisdom and taking aligned actions. And these 3 foundational pillars, beliefs were nothing but neuropsychology. That's one of my core pillars, like the brain. How does the brain work? Energy, which is spirituality, consciousness, whatever you want to call that, and wisdom, which is the foundation for taking aligned actions. And I call that the New You Blueprint. Using the New You Blueprint, this foundational 3 pillars are the reasons my clients get the results they're looking for. Because, and we're going to talk a lot about this in today's episode, about how do you use these 3 pillars to create that vision. So these 3 pillars, the reason beliefs, the brain is such an important, powerful piece, like if we don't work with the brain, if we don't work with the ingrained beliefs that we already have, you'll never make shifts in your life. Well, I can't say never, but it's harder to make shifts in your life. And everything is a belief. So beliefs for me fall under the category of neuropsychology, and everything is a belief. We were not born with beliefs. You acquired them. You acquired them by being in society, from your family, by watching people, by things that were told to you. Everything you learn to believe is a belief. If you believe you can have something, it's a belief. If you believe you can't have something, that's a belief too. So my invitation to you is to unlearn these beliefs that don't work for you. Create new beliefs that will get you what you want. So part of this process, right? This is why this is a unique way of how I use these 3 pillars to create the vision. Part of the process is to unlearn, to let go of beliefs that no longer serve you. So when you think about what you want to create in this year, right? What wants to come through you this year? And I'm using these words very deliberately, and I'll explain why later on. But for now, whatever needs to come through you, if you look at that, okay, this is what I want to achieve this year, and you're like, I can't do that, or that's not possible, or you push it down, or you talk yourself out of it, those are beliefs. So you have to unlearn some of those beliefs before you can create that vision, or before that vision will come into fruition. You can create the vision. You can start to say, okay, I want this. This is what I'm going to do this year. Or this is what the outcome is at the end of 2021. But if you don't work with these beliefs on a deeper level, these beliefs are so ingrained, it's harder to reach those goals. So my invitation to you is to tune into what beliefs are holding you back and let them go. See, most people, right? This is what I see. Most people look at the vision from what's possible from today's circumstances. They look at their life today. They look at the vision they have, and they automatically say, I don't think I can do this. They don't look at it from possibilities. And this is why it's vital that you look at what beliefs are holding you back. Most people, again, will aim for a little better, little more, a little step forward, just a little. Okay, I made whatever 150K this year, so I'm going to aim for 175 next year, right? They go little better, little more, just tiny amount. And that is not a vision. A vision is something that actually makes you uncomfortable, makes you think, I have no idea how I'm going to get there, right? That is a vision. So the first step is to release these old beliefs that are holding you back. To bring something new, you have to let go. So, for instance, if you want to buy new clothes and you haven't gotten rid of your older clothes that no longer fit you, where are you going to put your new clothes? That's a great analogy, isn't it? So clear out the old beliefs before you can create new ones. So the next part of this is energy or spirituality or consciousness, whatever you want to call that. Now, how do you use that to create your vision? See, I'm not talking about dogma. I'm not talking about New Age. I'm not talking about religion. I'm talking ancient wisdom. And how you use this aspect to create a vision, my favorite way to use this is to sit in silence, silencing the brain. I'm not just talking about meditation once a day, twice a day. I'm talking about quietening the brain, stopping these thoughts. One of my mentors says this. He says, to change the world, I have to stop my world. To stop my world, I have to stop myself. I'm paraphrasing this, but we have to stop ourselves first before we can change the world. And that's something that's really important. You have to stop your brain from overthinking, from being caught up in the beliefs, from getting caught up in the anxiety and the fear and the what's possible and what's not possible, the overthinking, all those things have to stop. And that only comes in silence. That only comes when you quieten the brain. And when you quieten the brain, you have access to universal consciousness. And then it allows whatever needs to come through you to come through you. That's where the answers lie. There's only one unique you on this planet. There will never be anyone like you again, ever on this planet. See, you are the instrument of consciousness, which is always flowing through you. So let the consciousness speak through you. And that, my friend, can only come in silence. And when you silence the brain, you access the mind, you access the universal consciousness. And guess what? This is really important as you listen to this. Please take note. If you don't take action on the information flowing through you, the unique you that you are, universal consciousness will make the information come to someone else. I'm not kidding. Because the universal consciousness is always creating. It's looking for an avenue for this flow of information to come through. And if you are blocking it, it's going to come out from someone else. And then you're going to be like, hey, that was my idea. How does she doing it? Why is she doing it? Yes, that will happen. Don't believe me? I'm going to tell you, if you have not read the book Big Magic by Elizabeth Gilbert, she talks about this. She tells the story of how her husband tells her a story about some highway that they were building in the Brazilian jungles, and the project had to be abandoned. The jungle swallowed the whole thing, the road, the machinery. She loved the idea, and then she got sidetracked, and the idea left her. But months later, she discovered that Anne Patchett was writing the same book about the same thing. The plots were so similar, and as she puts it, we each counted backwards on our fingers, trying to determine when I had lost the idea and when she had found it. Turns out, those events had occurred around the same time. So, my friends, this is important. This is why, like when you can quieten the brain, access universal consciousness, let the information flow through you, that is intuition. And so let me ask you, has there ever been a time when you felt deeply inspired by something? And then the darned, how am I going to do this? Is it even possible? And all the multitude of questions started to pop up and you abandoned the idea. If yes, I'm going to give you a piece of my mind without any filter. It's time to stop that nonsense. Yes, time to stop it. You are a visionary. This is your job to envision what's possible, not get caught up in the how. Okay? And the fact that you're listening tells me that you want more from life, for yourself, for others, for the planet, for society, for a community, like all of those things. So time to start acting on it. And this is why I have this as one of the core pillars. And with my clients, I help them energetically clear. I help them clear energetically the blocks imprinted by these beliefs, which are so deep, so they can access intuition clearly. They can have access to the universal consciousness without any of the blocks and take aligned actions. And that brings me to the next part, aligned actions, using your wisdom. See, without actions, manifestations cannot happen, can it? So let me ask you, why do we not act on things? Why do we not take the necessary actions, whatever that looks like? You may already know this. This is not going to be new information for you. It's often addiction to perfectionism. It's often fear of criticism, fear of judgment. You know what I'm saying is true, especially the addiction to perfectionism, which is often rooted in fear, isn't it? So connecting it back to beliefs. So here's the piece. When you are holding yourself back because of perfectionism or fear of criticism, judgment, whatever that fear might be, it is rooted in beliefs. Things that you've told yourself, things that have been told to you. Without clearing that, it's very hard to move forward. So take some time to do that. Okay? So, my friends, take imperfect actions. Just do it, like Nike says. Just do it. Do it, because once you take actions, you will know the next step. You will know that's the only way to discover what the next step is. And let me ask you, if you're still holding yourself back, what's more important to you? Your vision, driven by your purpose, or your attachment to ego, which is nothing but fear? And has there ever been a time when you have had no idea how you are going to get to point B, whatever that point B was, and all you had was a deep, deep knowing that you had to get to point B? Like that was your mission, that was so important to you. And somehow, miraculously, people, resources, things showed up along the way to help you out. Right? That's what I'm inviting you to drop back into. You know, I still remember I was in graduate school in San Francisco doing my master's in counseling psychology was studying to be a marriage family counsel therapist. And I was a very poor student, new immigrant to this country, studying, barely any funds. And I realized after coming here that somehow I had miscalculated the funds for a whole semester. A whole semester. I was like, holy cow. I was very young. I was like 21, very, very young. So such a young kid. Didn't have any of these tools. In a panic. And somehow I knew it. I knew that I had, like, this was so important to me. Like, helping people has always been important to me. So I had my eyes on that vision. Unconsciously, I kept my eyes on that vision. And somehow, somewhere, I got some scholarship. I got somewhere, somehow, someone helped me. Things just fell into place. I got a scholarship for that semester, and it all worked out. I didn't know how. I had no idea how. And this was so long time ago. And this was including having all these beliefs and all those things that I don't have much anymore. Even with that, because I had a clear purpose in mind. I'm sharing this because I want you to know that you can do anything you want. We hold ourselves back. If you don't have something, it's because you're holding yourself back unconsciously or consciously, right? So my invitation to you is to really take some time and look into yourself. After this episode is over, take some time, sit down, write these things down. And if you don't do it now, if you keep postponing it, you know when you don't do it immediately, you know what happens. Because if you don't take actions on these things, then you'll move on to the next thing. We live in a very short attention span. I read somewhere that we have an attention span of 6 seconds or something like that. And goldfish has an attention span of 5 seconds or nope. I could be completely wrong with it. Don't quote me on it, but this is what my memory tells me right now. So our attention span is so little if you don't take actions right now of even just creating a vision, watching out for what beliefs are holding you back, and what's stopping you from creating a vision that makes you even uncomfortable to a little extent. You won't do it. And then you'll be back in the same place a year later. So you have to decide what's more important to you, bringing your dreams to fruition, creating the impact that you've always wanted to have, creating more balance in your life, having that peace of mind, whatever that is, or postponing this. And that's why it's really important to let go of the how. Just trust and take actions, and the next step will appear. I think about the Mandalorian again, right? Like that's exactly what he did. He had a purpose, he had a desire, he got clarity, and he just took the next step and next step and next step and next step. I'm not going to give more of the story out in case you haven't watched it, but that is what I'm talking about. So please remember that. So let's bring it all together, okay? So the 5 steps to create your vision are desire, purpose, clarity, intuition, and taking aligned actions. Now use these along with clearing old beliefs, tap into your wisdom by sitting in silence, and then take actions towards your vision. Whatever that next action is. Maybe you have an intuitive hit to call somebody you haven't talked to in 3 years. Take that step. See what happens. See what unfolds. You never know. Right? I create a vision board for myself every year, every single year. So what I do, I'm going to share with you my process. So I sit in silence. This time it took me days. It didn't come in one shot. I had to be very clear about, I put the intention and then I sat in silence. I also used dream time, which at some point I'll start talking about that here as well. And it took me days to get clear about what is wanting to come through me this year. And once I had that clarity, I usually create a vision board with pictures and writings and things that I put together. It's like a small vision board that I hang up. And I also create a similar vision board for my phone. So every time I created that in Canva. So I just did that, and visuals and words that speak to me. And every time I look at my phone, unconsciously, it's giving me a message about what is that I'm aligning to my vision. I'm aligning to what is it that needs to come through me. And again, if you hear my words carefully, like I'm saying, it is what is needing to come through me. This is not mine, right? Whatever I'm here to do is in service. And so whatever's coming through me is coming through me rather than this is mine. I don't have any attachment to what is needing to happen through my particular form. If that's not clear, please feel free to DM me and ask me some questions, because this is part of what I'm going to be bringing more of into our podcast this year, which is more of the consciousness and spirituality, because that is a huge piece of the work that I do in the world with my clients and for my own self. And so it's really hard to just focus on just the brain part, which is kind of what I've been doing all of the last year and last episodes. So that's what I do. I've made a vision board that I see every day. And that's the other key piece, which is you want to be seeing that consciously, unconsciously, reading it, being one with it, being aligned with your vision. And the more you can connect with it on a deeper level, it's going to keep subconsciously imprinting your vision. The other piece that I do, which I'm also going to invite you to do, is to pick a word for the year. This word that you pick, again, sitting in silence, letting the word come to you, is your North Star. See, life will happen. Circumstances will happen. Things are going to happen in your life. And it's easy to lose sight of your vision because you may have 5 setbacks as you take your aligned actions, and you might feel like nothing's happening. Nothing is moving you towards the goal that you have. And you might lose. You might feel dejected. You might lose hope, right? And that's when this word is going to be your North Star. It's going to pull you back. For me, this year, the word that came to me was allow. Because I have a tendency, like you all, I'm also visionary. I have a tendency to overdo. And this year has been all about learning how to just be. 2020 has been all about learning to just be. And in 2021, my goal is to allow the next step to appear. Allow information to come through me. Allow for me is a very powerful word. And so I'm inviting you to sit in silence and let the word come to you. And write it down somewhere that you can again see it every single day. So that brings us to the end of this episode. I invite you, if you found value in this, please share this with your community. And please do subscribe and leave a review in iTunes. Because the more people we can reach together collectively, the more we can lift the vibration in the planet, right? And in this coming year, I'm going to be sharing a lot of amazing content that will help you move towards your vision. So please stay tuned for that. And I am so grateful to serve you. I'm so grateful to be here. I'm so grateful that you are here. And I so appreciate your listening to these podcasts and sharing it with your community and leaving reviews. I'm really, really appreciative of that. Anyone who has done that, thank you so much. And I will connect with you next week. Thank you, visionaries. Enjoy your week. Enjoy your creation of your vision. And please share your thoughts with me on Instagram at Padma Ali. I love to hear your takeaways and your breakthroughs. All right, my friends, talk to you soon. Thank you so much for listening. I have a request for you. If you found value, chances are that your friends and family will too. So if you can leave a positive review on iTunes, it will help reach so many more people. And if you have any topics or questions you would like me to feature, please send them to support@padmaali.com. And lastly, please share your takeaways and breakthroughs with me on Instagram at Padma Ali. Thank you so much for tuning in.